So guys, this is what I waited the last three days-ish for, and that is the last 3.5, almost 4 minutes of the champion training tournament. We're going to do some grinding, but hopefully this video can come out before your champion training tournament actually ends. If you're in the lead, or if you're close enough to snipe, maybe you can use this for your benefit. So recently, the champion training tournaments were changed. Now you can use books to get points for the champion training tournament. I'll show you guys the details on that after mine actually finishes. I don't want to spoil how close or how far we actually are. We have 3 minutes before I will either claim my brand new Ultimate Death Knight, giving me +10 speed to all of my undead faction, or be very disappointed. I opened my phone several times earlier and my heart dropped because I was like, oh no, I'm not actually going to win. We'll get over that in just a second though, but here we go. Upgrading skills. You should see CVC points stacked on top of champion training points. For champion training alone, this is not very worth it, in my opinion. I mean, obviously, legendary books and epic books are pretty hard to come by, but for CVC stacked with the champion training, it's 100% worth it, especially for a champion who you were already going to book anyways, right? So Stoutus requires 11 books. To be honest, if we miss the A1, I don't really care. We don't need the A1, but knowing my luck, we're going to have to book everything. So 1,200 points there, 18,000 points there. So 1,200 points for champion training, 18,000 points for CVC, which is crazy. This is the best way to double dip because I'm double dipping in the champion training. And then when I claim Ultimate Death Knight, hopefully I should get some points from that as well. We'll go ahead and ascend him, which is also good CVC points and also good champion training tournament points. This is really the perfect way to do it. Now I got to go back in here and farm some more potions because I'm in a pretty bad spot right now. So Stoutus Dragonbane, I am going to do some showcasing of him soon, probably later today, of actually comparing him to some other defensive-based nukers and defense-based champions. If you guys want to see that, a few people have asked for it, so I will be doing that. We're going to fully book Ruella as well, also a champion I want to try out. Both of these champions are ones I wanted to use, wanted to try out, so I completely expected to do this. I definitely wouldn't waste books and resources on champions you don't plan to book or don't plan to actually use, right? And then once we finish this, we might do some just 3v3, maybe some faction wars while I talk about what I messed up on that would have saved me so much headache on this entire event. So let me go ahead and make some more of these. Oh my goodness gracious. I am so bad off on potions. Guys, I will be grinding potions during CVC because for some reason, I can't get another one. I need two. Wait, no, I need two. Okay, there we go. Okay. I need 2 of them. So yeah, not quite enough, unfortunately. Who else do I want to book? Zavia. Does she need books? That's a good question that I asked myself. Attacks all enemies cannot be revived. So this. Attacks all enemies each hit 50% chance of placing poison. And then her A4, I guess. Wait, which one explodes and stuff? I guess she has to be ascended to actually explode. That makes sense. Okay. I was wondering why her kit wasn't reading like I thought it was supposed to be reading. Let me see Zavia real quick. This is not good. But does she need books? Deals damage from all poisons? Maybe. For some extra damage on this ability, her A2 would help with books, of course. I mean, extra chance to actually place poisons. But if you're not relying on her to place the poisons, which I feel like if you bring her, you probably are. So she's going to require 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 books. That's not bad at all, really. 10 books, kind of an OG legendary champion. We need to get back to focus. We have, let's see, should be about done. 17 seconds. All right, guys. Do I have anybody else left to book? Let's see. We got quite a bit of points pretty quickly. Krutraxa, I do want to book her. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 books. Krutraxa versus Zavia. Who do you guys want to see? I'm going to leave it up to you all. Do you want to see Krutraxa damage tested with books or Zavia? I'm thinking that Krutraxa, actually, honestly, I don't know. I feel like they're both pretty valuable with books. Zavia for speed runs, though, to be honest, more so just for showcasing. Zavia will be more so for showcasing in teams, Fire Knight, and Krutraxa will probably be used for me more often. Here we go, guys. Well, I guess this is going to give it away. It should be done. It should be over now. The Ultimate Death Knight tournament. Tournament finish. Let's see. We're going to click it. Is this the time? I mean, it should be, right? It should be. I was number 1. There we go. 85,000. Final positions are being finalized. I love it. So, as we sit here, I have 85,000 points. Guys, this video right here was 8 months ago. This was during the Krisk Champion Training event. This tournament, I pushed 76,000 points in the course of, I don't know, what was it, like 45 minutes? Less than an hour, I think it was. But because I use all my saved up champions, my 5 stars and my 6-star champions. Right now, according to RSL Helper, this is what I currently have. Now, this time, I was not too transparent about my champions and my resources because this time I was pretty tight on everything. This video right here, I was 100% transparent about everything I had because I was known to have prepared for this. Didn't really care that much. With this most recent one, it was much closer, much tighter. But back then, I used my 5-star champions, put bruise into them very quickly, and got a lot of points very, very fast. Right now, I have 104 5-star champions that are probably level 1 or very close. And then I have 35 6-star champions. So this is RSL Helper. Let me go to the actual inventory. You can probably see, actually, champion index. You can see what level my champions are. So we have, let's do, actually, no, I can't do, okay, about rank. Let's see. 6-star level 1, champion level 1. Can we see this? Okay, 6-star level 1. I guess I can't actually see that. I don't know how to actually check that out. Maybe I can just, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's just not filter, reset filter. It is what it is. I have a decent amount of stuff saved up. I could have bursted some points. Didn't have to, though. I will be saving that for the next champion training tournament. But that goes back to where I messed up. So basically with this tournament, the first day, I wasn't sure if I was going to push. I knew Ultimate Death Knight would give me a nice little boost for my faction guardians and everything like that. So I was definitely interested in doing so. But I was like, the first place person has 20,000 points. That's not a significant lead. 20,000 points is definitely closable. But had I pushed up that very first day, probably to 50,000 points, I probably would have been in a position where second place would have been like, nope, screw it. I don't even want to go for it. Because there is something called a sunk cost fallacy. And you can see this in action 100%. Let me show you guys what this is in case you don't know. A little lesson, I guess, psychology. Sunk cost fallacy is right here. Basically, this means is the sunk cost fallacy. What is the sunk cost fallacy? The sunk cost fallacy describes our tendency to follow through on an endeavor if we have already invested time, effort, or money into it, whether the current cost outweighs the benefits. So, whenever I waited to actually start pushing for the Ultimate Death Knight, which let's see if we actually got him. There we go. Sitting in first place. So since I waited to actually start pushing until like 2 or 3 days in, Justified had already pushed up to almost 30,000 points. At that point, he was 3 times the top reward amount of points. So 10,000 points for the top reward. He was at 30,000 points. So at that point, he had already invested well over what he actually needed to win. Well, as you see me approaching, he continued grinding, okay? He pushed up to like 40, 50,000, and the next day he pushed up to 60,000. So he was going to continue pushing until he just couldn't really do it anymore. But had I pushed up to 50,000 the first day, 30,000 the first day, it probably would have led for a much, much, much easier tournament overall and a far less amount of points actually put in. Because if you're somebody, I mean, you've probably seen this in your own tournament. If you're somebody who's sitting at 3,000 points, you wake up and the first place person's at 20,000 points, they're already well over the top reward amount of points, then you're going to kind of think, well, it's not really worth my time to actually go for it. Whereas if you're at 20,000 points, and then somebody the next day pushes to 30,000 points, you're going to think, okay, I've already spent this much time, effort, and money. I need to go ahead and continue going for this event. So if you ever want to go for a champion training tournament, this is probably obvious by this point if you've been hanging around the raid community for a while, definitely start sooner rather than later. Be prepared. If it's a champion for Chris tournament, if it's a champion you really, really want, make sure to actually stay up until the time of the tournament starts, ideally, and then push very hard. Just open up, use as much points reasonably. Okay, you do want to save some stuff later on if you do need to continue pushing, of course, but use a lot of your stuff. If it's a champion you really want, like if it's a champion you're willing to use a lot of resources for, use a lot in the beginning, and it will save you, strangely enough, a lot of headache towards the end. Now, let's go ahead and add Ultimate Death Knight for our Faction Guardians. The whole thing we're here for, boom. Ultimate Death Knight slotted in, plus 10 speed for my Siphi, my Rotos, my Bad Alcazar, my Necrit, everything, guys. Beautiful. All right, so Necrit's 192. Now, the downside with this is my Necrit needs to be re-speed tuned. My, who else is a Undead Horde? There was go Rotos, 179. Reasonable speed now. He definitely needs to be re-geared, probably. I do have to check my champions and make sure their gear is all good. My Siphi is not really that fast. I don't have her really in speed gear. She's now 303 instead of 293. So there we go. Plus 10 speed on everybody. Now, Crypt King Grawl doesn't need to be as fast as he is now. I do use this champion quite a bit. So he's currently sitting at 266 speed with 69,000 HP, 3,900 defense. Probably my best regeneration and immortal gear. But either way, there we go. We got Ultimate Death Knight. So number one thing I can say, take away from this, is start pushing early. It'll save you so much headache towards the end, because the entire grind, trying to catch up, I cannot explain to you. Well, you probably know, if you've tried pushing in one of these events before, how demoralizing it is if you're pushing. Say you push 10,000 points. You decide to go to bed, you wake up the next day, and the leader has jumped 10,000 points. So every little bit you're going up, the leader is just matching that. It is so much easier to keep a lead when you've created that big gap in the very beginning than it is to catch up to the person. Even if it's not very difficult to get the number of points, it's difficult because every single time you look at the leaderboard and you see the leader pushing up similar points to you, it feels like a never-ending race and that you're never going to catch up. That's literally how it felt with me when I was pushing alongside Justified for the first day, where I was down 20,000 points and it was taking forever to actually close the gap. Now, once you close the gap, once you start making a little bit of a lead, it feels much, much better to be in the lead and trying to keep that lead versus being in second place and having to try to catch up to the first place person. A lot of this stuff is probably pretty obvious, but something that I've noticed over the course of, grinding for a few of these champion training tournaments. Definitely make sure you save, make sure you prepare, make sure you go relatively hard as soon as possible. Honestly, wake up as soon as the tournament starts. If you finish the tournament when somebody wakes up, they're just going to probably give up. They're just going to go for the top reward, not be too worried about it. Plus, you'll have the lead, and you can kind of judge how much to push from there. Now, with the amount of books, with the books being able to give you points nowadays, 75 for an epic tome and 200 for a legendary tome, you definitely need to make sure that you have a pretty good gap. There's some players with insane amount of books, so now you need to make sure you have an even higher gap than before, because before, the only way to burst points was to go in on 6-star champions at the best, drop in some brews, and then you're going to get a huge chunk of points. But now you can book those champions. Some players are at the whale level where they can just waste their books. Not a big deal. Granted, if they're that level, they're probably going to win either way. But guys, I don't want to keep rambling on. I could stay here forever. We're just going to do some 3v3, work on CVC. I'm going to get some champions built. We're going to try to do some Hydra videos very, very soon. Hopefully have one ready for tomorrow. We're going to have a video on damage testing with Stoutus versus some other defensive-based nukers, and then hopefully a few other pretty interesting videos to come along the way. And let me know if anybody's going for Kymar. Also, let me know if you actually got your Ultimate Death Knight. Let me know how your event's going. If you guys see this video before your event ends, hopefully you can use this to your benefit in CVC. Obviously, CVC will have been going on for a few hours at the time this video is released, so you probably already realized that. For me, obviously CVC started, and then like an hour later, my bracket ended. So unfortunately, I don't think I got any points for getting Ultimate Death Knight. It's unfortunate. I guess you don't get it from claiming stuff from the tournaments. I thought I would have got it, but unfortunately, I did not. I don't know why people put such tanky champions in here. Freaking Ultimate Death Knight, debating me right now, crushing me, taking forever to actually kill him. Oh my gosh, a Wither. This is so terrible. I usually just click through my 3v3 teams. Rotos. Oh my gosh, guys, just put rare champions in here. Just put rares on your one-man defense for CVC. Why not, right? Why not do that? One-man defense with rares, one-man defense with uncommon champion. Just don't be putting stone skin. None of that nonsense. It's not needed. We want easy wins, right? Drop your points, easy farms, get tons of CVC points, good gold bars, everything, guys. It's just much better, right? It's just much better. But all right, guys, with that said, hope you all enjoyed the video. Best of luck in your CVCs, and I'll catch you on the next one.